You're listening to Inside iOS Dev, a show about real-world iOS development. Today we're going to talk about hole-in-one, getting hired after your first and only interview. This is the story of how Alex just went through the interview process, interviewed only at one place, and successfully got a job. Must be nice, Alex. I didn't have that experience.
It is, indeed.
And yes, we are your hosts, Andrew Rohn and
Alex Bush.
So we'll be going over that today. Alex will be telling you a story, how he prepared for the interview, how basically I want to know how to do it, man. How do you get that hole-in-one win? Because I want to have those experiences. So that's why we're talking with you today. To start off, what spurred the job search, and why specifically ThoughtWorks?
Right. This is something that I was kind of contemplating over quite some time. I used to be a consultant for maybe like 4 years or even more, and then lately I joined startups and tried to kind of, I guess, be an employee and do more of a, I guess I would say, regular, normal type of development job. Right, where you kind of go to office and work on one project at one company and, in a team and so on, right?
Right.
But what I realized at some point is that it's not really my thing 100%. I mean, don't get me wrong, I enjoyed working with the people I worked with, but the dynamic of relationships, if you will, between me and the employer is not quite what I would like it to be.
Right.
It's and I guess it can be summarized and kind of expressed in a sentence where, like, if when you're an employee, they tell you what to do, right, and kind of how to do it. But as a consultant, the relationship is they tell you what to do, but you figure out how, generally speaking.
So is it that basically they're a little more hands off and you have a little more control of how you work and what you do? Is that really what it is?
Right. And the standards you define and best practices, you kind of get more control over that. And again, and the relationship is different. You are hired as a consultant, as an expert to solve a certain problem or do a certain job, right? And you are there to help them with that rather than being I would say, I guess, hands-on person who builds something, right?
Another thing that I'm kind of curious about is I feel like there's the consultant who I'm going to work for myself, or maybe it's me and a couple of buddies, and we're going to get clients and just work on these projects. That's kind of one vision I have of a consultant, but then you taught me about ThoughtWorks, and it's just giant organization with thousands of employees that has kind of consultants for hire in a way. What's the difference? Are they both consultants, or should I use different terms?
They both are, and yes, generally speaking, it's kind of what you mentioned. I would think typically, right, either a single freelancer consultant, right, or maybe himself or herself with a bunch of friends or other people doing that. And that's what I used to be, right? I used to run a small consultancy and do essentially that, right? Find clients myself and then kind of build apps and deliver projects for them.
I have a question. Sorry, I'll let you finish your thought.
And ThoughtWorks essentially in a grand, I guess, general overview, they do the same thing, just on a different scale, right? They're old, big consultancy. They've been around for quite some time. They are, we're the proponents of agile movement and all of that.
So I have a question. You said you were happy as a consultant, you liked it, and then you became an employee. Well, if you were so happy, why'd you make the move?
That's a good question. I would think living in Silicon Valley, you kind of catch that fever, if you will, of startups and you know, try to ride that wave. And I felt like this is one of the experiences I should have in my life and try that as well. And yeah, but then again, at the end, I realized that's not really my thing. Kind of want to do something else, which is consulting.
So why didn't you return back to working, kind of representing yourself and just finding jobs and things yourself?
The key difference between joining a company like ThoughtWorks, a bigger established consultancy, versus like going on your own is essentially when you go on your own, you are responsible not just for the development side of things, but also for running the entire business, right? Meaning you do marketing, you do sales, you organize everything, and you kind of spend time on that, which could be quite challenging. I mean, at some point, I actually kind of burned off like doing that. So this time I decided to change it a little and join a consultancy, bigger consultancy, and kind of work with them. Because effectively, at the end of the day, ultimate goal for me is to create something like ThoughtWorks, right? But that already exists. Why not just join?
I get it. So it's kind of the difference between you can be a consultant that's also a small business owner that you're really, like you said, running your own business, doing the marketing, trying to find the next job, or you can work as an employee but still be a consultant, and that's the ThoughtWorks path. Right. And I feel like I guess it's a happy medium where ThoughtWorks will take care of the running the other things, and you could just work on being the development side of being a contractor, the engineering side.
Right. This side I enjoy the most, right?
Right. Okay. So that makes a lot of sense to me. So now you kind of found this out about yourself, about what you value and what you want to do next. So then I guess you made that decision. So what were the next steps? You just applied to ThoughtWorks? Like how did that work?
Essentially, what I figured I should do, the things I knew about ThoughtWorks at the time were, well, I would think pretty much what everyone else knows about it, right? They are agile, big on agile. They were advocates of that. They do a lot of open source work and pro bono work, and they're advocates of TDD and so on, right? Just and Martin Fowler works there, right?
They got some credentials. They got some street cred.
Exactly.
I've heard good things about them. Strong engineering team.
Yeah, great practices and so on. So they're out there.
Good
right?
to have on your resume.
And that as well, yeah.
Yeah.
But that is as much as I knew, right? So I figured, all right, first, before I even apply, because that's going to be this entire process, right? And it will take a lot of time and will be demanding. Instead, I figured I'll talk to people first who work there. Just meet if I can, or like chat on LinkedIn or email them. And reach out and ask them how is, like, why are you at ThoughtWorks? What do you like about it? How is it working there, and so on. And essentially, that's what I did. I just searched on LinkedIn people in ThoughtWorks in San Francisco, right, and reached out to them, and they were very open to not even chatting with me, but meeting in person. They were very generous with that. And I met maybe, I would think, 5 or 6 people total.
Wow. You were very thorough.
Right, yeah. I mean, this is my next career move, right? I figured I'll, figure everything out first. And after I kind of, got one side of the story, then another and another, and it was kind of painting that great picture, actually. Everyone liked it, and people generally worked there for a long time, like more than 3, 4, 5 years.
Yeah, which in technology, that's like 20 years anywhere else.
Yeah, that's very crazy for Silicon Valley.
Yeah.
Like, people stay at companies for like a year or 2.
Yeah.
So that was a kind of a good sign, right?
So one thing is you're reaching out to these people because I think for some people they might experience some like trepidation of wanting to reach out to people and put themselves out there and ask to meet and feel like they're imposing on other people. Um, but actually, you said everyone was very receptive to you, right? Do you think that's because ThoughtWorkers in general, is it a ThoughtWorkers thing? Do you think they just like it there so much, or that ThoughtWorks hires these kinds of people who are good communicators and want to share this? Or like, I don't know, like I guess what I'm trying to get at is if someone's listening to this and they might feel some holding back some on wanting to reach out to people, like what can you tell them that will help them to reach out to other people and kind of do this research?
I feel like it's, yes, on one hand, it's a ThoughtWorkers thing, but on another hand, just in general, you would be surprised how open people are to kind of not just to talk, but even help out, right? And I would say do that for with any other company you apply for. It's You'd be surprised.
Okay, and then so meeting these people provided different value to you, and I think one of them, which we just talked about, is it gave you a clearer picture of what the company is like and whether you wanted to work there, which is very important because you said this is your next career move. Another value was that you were able to connect with someone and that they were able to refer you.
Right. Yeah. That was the next step. So instead of just applying through normal website forms or whatnot, that's something every single one of them actually mentioned during our conversations. That, oh yeah, let me know when you want to apply. I'll kind of put you, refer you, and contact our internal HR regarding you. Right. And that's what I did next. I just asked one of them to do that.
And that's huge. And one of the previous episodes, I talked about my job search, which was much more of a trudgery than this guy's. I wouldn't call it trudgery, but it was more involved.
Hey, you did great.
More work. I stressed the importance of reaching out to people and getting those introductions to internal referrals, because that will put you at the top of the heap there of getting considered for the company. Okay, so then you got this referral. ThoughtWorks reach out to you. What happens next?
So after that, one of the HR people, one of the recruiters, called me, and we chatted a little, just a general typical thing. Oh, why you want to join ThoughtWorks, and what appeals to you, and how you can help us, what's your value, stuff like that. So yeah, the first interview after that was with a principal mobile developer. We chatted for, I would say, as far as I remember, for probably an hour about software architecture, iOS related and mobile related things, and just general design patterns, architecture, high level software development stuff. And it was pretty good because you'd be surprised how rarely you actually get to have those kinds of interviews of like the actual, in my opinion, important stuff for every software developer. And yeah, so that was like my first impression of the interview process. Was great.
It was a nice change. I guess that it was a software engineer interview versus one of these like computer science algorithm Google style questions, right?
Exactly. Yeah. There was no binary traversal something questions.
Right.
Because not relevant most of the time.
Well, yeah, I guess you shouldn't be writing your own binary search tree, right?
After that, that went well, and after that, before scheduling this second interview or next interview on site, they gave me an assignment, a take-home assignment to build an app. And the assignment was essentially an iOS app that pulls some data from a mock service, not even a backend, and displays it on the screen. Nothing too super complicated, but the challenge there was to write production-ready code, right? The actual thing you would ideally do on the job, meaning you'll need to TDD it, you need to have all of your mock objects and stub out your non-existent APIs and stuff like that. So that was That was pretty cool, actually. You don't get to have, again, quite often you don't get to have those types of assignments when you apply to companies.
Real code, like real problems.
Yeah,
Right.
real deal, exactly. And yeah, I enjoyed it a lot. Working on that, had evenings doing it, and after that, apparently that was good. They liked it, and then they invited me for on-site interview, and that was you would think like your normal, typical kind of all-day interview. I had, roughly speaking, 3 to 4 interviews with various people there, and essentially they not only asked about my technical background and technical knowledge, but also consulting skills. How would I talk to clients, and how would I convince them that TDD is a good way to go for them and for their team? So again, things more broad, not only just the hardcore your tech iOS knowledge specifically, right? But more consulting, right?
Holistic, as working as a consultant, communication.
Yep.
Yeah, different things like that.
And there was a pair programming session as well, which I enjoyed a lot. And and after that, oh yeah, and the fun fact, by the way, while I was there, it just happened like unplanned. But Martin Fowler was
Your hero.
Yeah, my hero. He was visiting.
You're fanboying.
I'm a big fanboy. Sorry. So he was visiting San Francisco for a presentation, I believe. I unfortunately missed it because I was, busy interviewing. Right? But he was there, and I got a chance to not only say hi, but ask for a selfie. He refused. Which is very understandable, but I had to.
Wait, so
to ask.
what was the words? What were the words? Like, how did the exchange actually go?
Well,
first off, did you like feel like a little giddy, like when you see a famous person?
Yes, I did. I hate to admit it, but I did, and
that's hilarious.
And
That's so nerdy.
I walked up to him and I thanked him for all the books he wrote.
Nice.
And I said, I'm gonna sound like a total fanboy, but can I ask you for a selfie? And he politely refused. He said, sorry, I don't do selfies.
Nice.
which again is understandable.
You gotta respect the man.
Definitely. That's his privacy.
So that's quite amusing.
Yeah, for a glimpse, I thought maybe he will interview me, but no. I mean, I'm not. Yeah.
They pull in Martin Fowler because they hear this amazing candidate that he must see immediately.
Someday I'll get there.
That's funny. Okay, cool. So you did the that at the onsite. You met the man, Martin Fowler, one of your heroes, programming heroes. What next?
And after that, I had one more interview with people lead at in San Francisco office, and we kind of chatted more about soft skills and leadership, things like that. Again, I would think related more to consulting, but also on the side of leading tech teams.
Right. So basically, you told him like how you carry a whip with you and you crack it harder.
Of course, and no carrot for you guys.
Just stick.
Life's hard.
It's a new leadership. It's sweeping the nation. There was a TED Talk.
Dictatorship rules.
They did research. Actually, no, this is all. No, so it was okay. So it's kind of soft skills, leadership skills. Cool. Okay.
And after that, they made me an offer.
Nice.
I was
showing you the dollar signs.
Oh yeah.
Woo.
Dollar bills.
Dollar bill. No, that's great. So how'd you feel when you got that offer?
Felt great. That's in a way a recognition, right? It's ThoughtWorks is an amazing company and they have great people, and again the reputation speaks for them.
Yeah.
And now they want me to join. I guess I'm good enough, right? And basically after some negotiation, I accepted.
Awesome.
And now I'm a thought
Did you
worker.
negotiate a Martin Fowler selfie?
That was not on the table.
Okay. Cool. So then now you've started you just started ThoughtWorks. You did the orientation, and now you're just going to be working there, and that's awesome, man.
Yeah,
I think we're gonna hear some have some good content that will be based off your experience there, which will people can listen and tune in and hear the things that you're learning, because I think it's going to be great because ThoughtWorks has such high standards, and so I'm hoping you can share that with me and the listeners.
definitely.
So I'm excited to hear your experience there. Yeah. So I guess let's close up here really quickly and talk key takeaways from this whole process. What can we do to get that hole in one like you did? What are the takeaways?
Well, I feel like one of the big things there is learn what you want
What's that mean?
professionally, right? What kind of company you work, or if, well, yeah, what kind of company you want to work at, right? Do you want to be an employee or you want to be a consultant? Like that, right? Just be clear. That narrows it down and makes it way easier. So you don't have to apply to like a million companies and, because you don't know what you want.
Okay.
You just can apply to one that you really, really like.
Okay. What are some other takeaways?
Another one, just, I guess, talk to people at the company you want to join. Figure out if they're, pleasant people to even talk to, right? And then maybe work with. And they'll tell you what's going on at the company, right? Maybe obviously not all the nitty-gritty details, but you just can tell by just chatting with people if it's good there or not, right?
And I feel like this takeaway leads into the next takeaway.
And exactly, apply through a referral. That is the best way to kind of bump you up on the top of the list with HR. Because you are referred. You're not just someone from the street who wants to get in.
Right. And for this last takeaway, I think you might want to go over the anecdote you told me of how someone was looking over a coding assignment and how that removed someone from as a candidate.
Right. A friend of mine lately was.
So just real quick, the key takeaway was what?
Your coding assignment is very, very, very important. That's like one of those things that'll effectively almost get you in or not, right? Because again, the story there, a friend of mine, he was interviewing a bunch of developers for a position, and they would apply with their coding assignment and just basically in the email there say, oh yeah, I know in the coding assignment you asked me to like do tests and this kind of thing there in code, but I didn't have enough time, so I didn't really do it. So here you go. Here's my solution. Like my friend just simply disregarded his application because like he just ignored the requirements. Like you...
Right, and you're not even an employee yet, so how can they take the chance on you and not know that you're not going to do that when you work there? Oh, well, I didn't put I didn't meet this requirement because I didn't have time.
Right. You just simply don't value that company enough to actually do what they ask you to do.
Right.
So yeah, that's the takeaway. It's immensely important to work on your home assignment.
Awesome. I think this is a great episode, Alex, and look forward to hearing more about ThoughtWorks and what you do there and what we can learn from ThoughtWorks and the team and your future Martin Fowler run-ins.
I hope to run into him, yes.
Thanks, everyone, for tuning in for this episode. Find us on InsideIOSDev.com. Find us on Twitter at InsideIOSDev. Leave us reviews. Send us emails, hello@InsideIOSDev. Contact us. Do it. No, really. Contact us. We want to hear any questions or feedback you have. It really helps us.
Right. And we might even talk about it on our next podcast, like your questions you have.
Yeah, I feel like we should do a Q&A episode.
Definitely.
Okay, cool. Well, thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye.